Need a push getting your spirits, wine, or beverage brand into the hands of consumers? Interested in winning medals like a double gold award? Proof Awards, the ultimate beverage competition, can help jumpstart your brand into the hands of beverage buyers. Enter the Proof Awards. Be a part of the Proof Awards marketing campaign with our partner, Food and Beverage Magazine. All of our judges are buyers, and that's what sets our awards program apart from the others. Our judges head the beverage programs for restaurants, bars, nightclubs, casinos, liquor stores, big box retail, and national wine and spirits distributors. Your brand will be tasted by buyers from more than 15 states across the U.S. We have hundreds of categories to choose from at www.proofawards.com. Be seen by 12 million readers with our partner, Food and Beverage Magazine. Get tasted and rated by buyers. The Proof Awards competition is open for spirits, wine, and beverage brands today. Proof Awards, moving brands into the marketplace. www.proofawards.com.
Welcome to Proof Live, where booze brands in the right hands. On a quest for the best tipple and toast with the most exciting and respected bottlings. Competing for the 100-point Perfect Score Century Award and the double gold and a spot on the top shelf to be sipped, shaken, stirred, and celebrated. Slide up to the bar with the biggest names in the spirits game as they clink glasses with your hostess, legendary connoisseur Jennifer English, for intimate conversations, live tastings, product launches, and the happiest hour there is. Now, broadcasting live from the commodious confines of the Swanky Proof Saloon, where the liquid elite meet, here is your hostess, the Madam of Manhattans, the Duchess of Daiquiris, the Queen of Conviviality, your hostess, James Beard Award winner, Jennifer English.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Jennifer English, and I'm the editor-at-large of Proof Magazine, and I'm one of the lead judges in the Proof Awards. And as we get ready to celebrate the 2022 Proof Awards, we continue to visit the Century Award winners, newsmakers, tastemakers, and winners of the 2021 prizes who have literally made the biggest splash in our industry. Century Award winners, of course, not only receive a perfect score, 100 points, but it has to then be unanimously decided by our esteemed group of judges that this is, in fact, a Century Award winner. That is no small feat. I have been in the room many times when something was really this close to irresistible. That standard of excellence where you go, yep, 100 points, that's the Century Award, versus merely being the highest level of double gold. Both awards of great acclaim and indication of excellence. But it's the Century Awards that we're celebrating today. We're going to turn to an American whiskey. The world is paying attention to American whiskeys right now, particularly, and there is a new whiskey, Rabbit Hole, from the Derringer Straight Bourbon Whiskey Collection. Its founder and its CEO is here with us today. Kaveh, are you here with us? Kaveh.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Zamanian.
Correct.
Is here in your distillery and tasting room, and I am thrilled to congratulate you on your Century Award. What an accomplishment, obviously, for you and your team, but it has to be satisfying because you don't make a great bourbon whiskey overnight. It's the end of what I'm going to imagine is a decade-long dream. Can you talk a little bit about the dream and how you came to be literally at the top of the whiskey world?
Well, first of all, Jennifer, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's a privilege to be here, and I appreciate the question. I think, spirits, wine and spirits have been a passion play for me for a lifetime. It just happens that about 10 years ago, and I decided to dive into the game full on. And the vision behind Rabbit Hole from the very beginning was to make not only distinct products, but products that really stand head and shoulder above other competitors, basically. I wanted to make sure that we design and build products, whiskeys that are unique and one of a kind. And that was really the principal vision behind Rabbit Hole, because at the time I approached the process as a consumer, and I felt that there was a lot of monotony in the marketplace. And it reminded me of the early days of beer and kind of wine before the craft beer movement or the boutique kind of wine movement, where there was a lot of monotony, only a handful of players. And I felt that there's an opportunity for us to get in and be able to genuinely contribute to what is on the whiskey shelf by offering things that are absolutely distinct. And it's, again, I feel that it's been a phenomenal ride the last 10 years, and it's a privilege to be here.
Kaveh, bring us to Rabbit Hole Distillery. Are you there right now?
Yeah, I am. I'm actually sitting in the executive office at this point. Rabbit Hole is in Louisville, Kentucky. We're in the heart of Louisville in a neighborhood called Nulu. Nulu, if you're not familiar with it, is basically sits between downtown and more established neighborhoods in Louisville. And it's a really cool, kind of a young, hip, entrepreneurial-like, if you would, neighborhood. And I have been basically eyeing this neighborhood for a long time, since I really moved to Louisville, and had the opportunity now about 7-8 years ago to focus on the property that we're sitting on and be able to plan building Rabbit Hole. And we're here. We actually started design and development in 2015, started construction in 2016, and opened in 2018. And I got to tell you, if you haven't been here, it is really a must visit, because we are blessed to have been named actually the architectural icon of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail now.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really a one-of-a-kind distillery, too. It's fully immersive, where you are genuinely in the soup, seeing everything in full view.
I'm thrilled, because you may not remember, but I am the host. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail Club on Clubhouse. So we have a lot of fun talking about the transformation, the evolution of what's happening in the bourbon world. What's also really interesting to me is there are new bourbons that reach the market that come from old houses. What's really distinctive is that you've created a new house, a new distillery. I don't want to overlook or underestimate or underreport how significant that is, what big news that is. It takes a lot to go to the source of the greatest bourbons in the world and say, I'm here, I'm going to make room for us here because we have something to offer, which clearly, as a Century Award winner, you do. Let's talk about that, because that required both insight, intention, innovation, and confidence in the product and the dream or the vision that you had. Can you speak to how you did this? Because we're not overstating how tough it is to break into something that has been there for about 150 years.
Yeah, I really appreciate you recognizing that, Jennifer. I think you're absolutely right. I felt like, we just joined the major leagues, and we're going up against, the Yankees and the Dodgers here. And in that sense, it really was quite a feat to be able to come in and be able to join the ranks of Brown-Forman, Heaven Hill, Jim Beam, all these amazing brands that have been around for generations. And to be able to slowly not only join the ranks, but also gain their respect and become part of the group that I think is, head and shoulders above anybody else from a standpoint of production of whiskey. I think it's, Kentucky is really the mecca of bourbon, and it's just a privilege to be here. It was not an easy feat, Jennifer. I think that probably the biggest challenge for me was the idea of designing and developing a distillery in an urban setting rather than a rural setting. That was probably the biggest challenge. Part of it was really personal sentiment. I grew up in Los Angeles, lived in Chicago for many years, for about 20 plus years. And I felt that in order for the brand to be authentic and reflect who I am and what the brand represents, we should be in a city environment rather than a rural environment. After all, I feel that Rabbit Hole is a little bit more on the kind of a modern side, both from an aesthetic standpoint and also the liquid direction that we've gone. So I thought that the city is a great fit. I think the more important piece was, how do you design a distillery that is truly craft, but is able to scale? So the challenge with it was to be able to design a distillery where we basically produce 23, 24 barrels a batch, which is really, in comparison to the other players, very, very small. And when we bottle, we only bottle and blend 15 barrels at a time for all our products. But it is designed to actually scale up to upwards of 27,000 barrels a year. And that is really the magic of this distillery, where it is craft, but it is really designed to scale, which is, by the way, part of what I think you need. And I learned very fast and very early that if we have the ambition for our brand to become a national brand or even an international brand, we need a facility that's able to match that ambition.
Can you introduce the audience to the Century Award-winning Rabbit Hole Distillery, Century Award-winning Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have the bottle here. This is Derringer. This is the expression that has received the award, and I can't tell you how thrilled we are to have actually received this honor. Derringer is an amazing bourbon whiskey. It is actually a wheated bourbon that is the base that we have, which is aged for 4 years, and then it is secondarily aged in Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. So it is a really interesting and intricate and involved process. Wheated bourbon, as you guys probably know and your audience knows, has already got a sweet base to it. But then secondarily, we age anywhere between probably somewhere on the average of 4 to 9 months, depending on if it's the first or second use of the secondary barrel, in Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. And these are casks that we get from cooperage in Spain, Cascanolia cooperage. And I love the story of this cask because the wood actually for these casks is procured in Ohio, believe it or not. And then the oak wood goes to Montilla, Spain. Cascanolia folks put the barrel together, they toast and char it, then they give it to a vintner there that ages sherry, Pedro Jimenez sherry, for 2 years. Then they harvest the barrel and send it back to us in Louisville, Kentucky, and we age our wheated bourbon in that barrel. So it's such a,
that's so symbiotic.
It really is. It really is. And I think for me, it shows the connectivity of the spirit industry, and being able to work with different folks from different parts of the world.
Where's the Derringer available, and where can you tell people to discover it? Because sometimes people are reluctant to break out of their habits. And if they've not read about it yet, or this is the first you're hearing about it, and you want to go try it, which I urge you to do, run, don't walk. Where are we going to send people?
Yeah, I think all the major, liquor establishments should have it. So depending on where you are, we're nationally available now. We're also actually, if you happen to be out of the United States, we're distributing now also in UK and Canada and South Korea. But in the States, pretty much in every state we're available. I would say any of the large boxes, any of the independent stores, Rabbit Hole should be available, and Derringer should be available. Now, with the caveat that thanks to programs like your show and the Proof Awards, Derringer is right now one of our fastest growing expressions. So I hope that, if they've run out on the shelf, you go back and don't give up on it, because it's going to be back on the shelf soon.
That's exciting. And I want to have you talk a little bit about how the bourbon community has recognized you. You mentioned that they've grown in their esteem and respect for you. I'm sure that those big brands always imagine that if there was room in the market, they'd be there to fill it. But the beauty of an artist like you is that you dream something that no one else has dreamed and make it real. And that's the true art of bourbon. It is truly distinctive and it's really an expression of something that no one else has ever imagined. It's not that it was formulaic in any way, that it's really as much art as it is science. And I want to recognize that, because I want everyone in our industry who is dreaming dreams, that even if you think there might not be room somewhere where you think you want to go, I would love for you to talk to the inspiration point for dreamers and entrepreneurs in the hospitality industry, some of whom may have lost their gigs during the pandemic.
Yeah, I think that the hardest thing to do sometimes, particularly you're getting started on a project, pursuing a dream, is to be able to have that confidence and conviction to be able to pursue it. I think that, in some ways, entrepreneurship or starting a venture is, especially early on, very lonely process, because, there's not a whole lot of people that are going to tell you to jump with 2 feet in. But I think that that conviction is really tied to the degree of passion and excitement that you have about your dream. My personal kind of approach, Jennifer, has been that I feel that, we only live once in this world. And, I worked as a psychologist actually before I became a whiskey maker. And I saw a lot of folks that either could not find their dream, or if they found their dream, they had a hard time harnessing it and pursuing it. So I was very acutely mindful of the limitation of time and not taking time for granted. And I wanted to make sure that if I'm here, I don't have any regrets. So that's one of the things that I tell folks, is that I hope that you're living a life without regrets. And I think that's going to be a real important foundation to be able to give you the courage to pursue your passion and dream. I think the other piece is to be surrounded by people that are supportive. I'm very fortunate to have a spouse that has been there with me from day one. And believe me, not a whole lot of partners are going to be excited about you closing your practice of 20 years to start a distillery with very little experience. And in fact, that was one of the reasons that the name Rabbit Hole came to be, because I came up with these recipes for our bourbons and rye whiskeys. And my wife, Heather, used to ask, how do you know if these are going to be any good? And of course, I didn't have a certain answer. And she used to say, well, you're going to take the family down the rabbit hole with this cockamamie idea. And ultimately, together, we were able to forge this partnership. And with her support, I was able to have the courage to go ahead with it. So I think that, you need good people around you. I think we all need good people around you, because even with the best ideas, nothing happens in a vacuum, and you can't do it by yourself.
What is the house toast at Rabbit Hole?
I'm sorry, say that again, Jennifer.
What is the house toast at Rabbit Hole?
Well, one of the things that I say quite a bit is that we have no master, we are a collective. So here's a toast, and we always make a toast to our team effort. That's probably the one piece that really is part and parcel of our culture, and I think part and parcel of our success.
Congratulations on the 2021 Century Award from the Proof Awards, and to all the success and acclaim that you've been enjoying. My hat's off to you. And it's really been an honor to have you here, and I am eager to welcome you back. For more information, people can go to your website, and I'm going to imagine that there may even be a cocktail recipe or two. Much as we like it as a straight sipper, I'm sure that there's a distinctive style of Rabbit Hole Distillery cocktails as well.
Oh, absolutely. We have a whole slew of cocktail recipes on our website, and we actually update those every quarter seasonally. So I encourage all your listeners to go and check it out. You're going to get some really great ideas for your next cocktail.
Congratulations. And thank you so much for being here. Kaveh Zamanian, for being here from Rabbit Hole Distillery. It's been an honor, and the Century Award is yours. I hope it serves you extremely well, and I encourage everybody to try this. Are you on premise as well as off premise? Are there some places where you can find this, where you can go and have your first sip?
Yeah, and we are now in a lot of different bars and restaurants. So depending on the city or the town, I think all the major metropolitans we're available now. And I think now with the expanded distribution, you should be able to find us in smaller cities as well. So, go out there, and please, if you don't see it, or if you don't, they don't have it, please ask for it, because we have a wide distribution now, and I'm super excited for you to be able to taste our product. And Jennifer, thank you again for having me on the show. And I'm so excited. And on behalf of myself and the team, it's an absolute honor to have this award. We are just delighted.
Well, cheers. And I look forward to clinking glasses with you in person soon.
Cheers. Absolutely. Thank you.
Cheers. How did you meet these fantastic men? Ian, Paul, it's so lovely to have you here with us. Welcome. And I raise my glass to welcome you. We have the Vice President of Marketing from Zing Zang, the company who makes the best, not only mixers, but now ready-to-drink cocktails. Extraordinary friend Diane Mina joins us from her home in Las Vegas, where she has...
Whether you are thinking about becoming a restaurateur or you are already in the business, Michael Politz has written a must-read, The Food and Beverage Magazine's Guide to Restaurant Success. Pick up your copy today at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million, or wherever fine books are sold.